when they go to cancel you, ladies and gentlemen, it comes hard and fast. You lose your Facebook, then your Instagram, then your Gmail, then your Discord, then your website hosting, then your domain name, then your payment processor, then your bank. Then it's just like in real time, you're watching your phone and apps just exploding. Boom, boom, boom. It's crazy. I don't want to go conspiracy theorist. I'm just telling people what I've been through. It's really crazy. And if they'll do it to me for saying women can't park a car, which was a joke, sorry world, then they'll do it to basically anybody. And you have to be prepared for that. And that's one of the reasons why I've moved to Rumble now, because I've had long conversations with senior management there, and they promised that I can make jokes without being destroyed and annihilated, which is quite refreshing. So I very much look forward to continuing my legacy and continuing my work on Rumble, rumble.com/Tate Speech. And I know for a fact that my young fans will come with me. So this is just the beginning of a mass exodus away from the influence of control by tech companies.
Won't someone please think of the children? Young people are going to follow Andrew Tate to Rumble. Where was my response to that? First of all, before I even do that, once bitten, twice shy, 3 times traumatized. How's my audio, people? Is this a good mic? We can hear me speaking moistly. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Is this the good mic? I'm not going on until I get confirmation that this. Okay, good. All right, let's talk about this. You know, the funny thing is, Andrew Tate has been in the news this week because he got deplatformed. Allegedly because he's a misogynist and he's a threat of violence. You know, he's a danger because of his speech. Now, I'll preface this by saying I'm relatively familiar with Andrew Tate. I don't. I have kids. My kids forward me or send me videos that their friends send them. So I've known of Andrew Tate for a little while. I'm more familiar with his work than many people out there now hearing about him for the first time. I've seen clips, not just like the mashed together, spliced together 5-second clips. I mean, I've seen some 1-2 minute unedited clips of things he has to say. I don't think I agree with a great. Let me rephrase this. I know that I disagree with a great many things Tate has said and the manner in which he has said them. So people in this oversimplified world are going to say a defense of Tate's speech is a defense of Tate's speech. And it's a very subtle distinction that some people can't make or refuse to make. The defense of Tate's speech as a human applies to everyone equally. The defense of Tate's speech as a particular is a substantive debate that people can get into. I've heard some of the things he said. I find them to be respectfully idiotic in either substance or form. The one where he's talking about women, you know, selling, it's his product. That's his yeah, it's idiotic. He says some things that are not idiotic. He says some things that are idiotic. Surprise, surprise, Tate is a human. Like everyone else, will be right, will be wrong, will be good, will do some things that are bad, and all humans are like that to greater or lesser degrees, such that one can overall characterize someone as overall a bad person because they do more bad than good, overall a good person because they do more good, but they still do bad because humans are humans and humans are imperfect. And then you can come to an opinion. So I'm familiar with Tate. Familiar with Nate as well. What I love about Tate is I don't know if it's confidence or blind narcissism. I even watched his hour and 13-minute video on Rumble, which I think it's interesting to watch. You know, you could see a lot of diverting blame. You could see a lot of sort of faux assumption of responsibility. But you see either confidence or narcissism, depending on your perspective. When Tate says, they can do it to me, they can do it to anybody else, that's what everybody says after having not said exactly that when they did it to Trump, the sitting president of the United States of America. It started with Jones. That was the test. That was the canary in the coal mine. When they deplatformed and unpersoned the sitting president of the United States on the basis that his speech was violent or inciting violence, That's when everyone can fully appreciate if they can do it to the president of the United States of America, they can do it to anybody. Tate just happens to be the latest target, and one can ask why. He's been saying the things he's been saying for a long time. It's not new to anybody who's been on the interwebs. What might be new is Tate's newfound political popularity and something that's coming up in the next couple of months known as the midterms, people. Tate's got 4.5 million followers, or he had at one point. I think that's not necessarily even across all platforms, on certain platforms. 2 months, 2.5 months before midterms, a vocal Trump supporter now gets banned for things that he's been saying for quite a while on the interwebs. Things which I can understand people find offensive, juvenile, idiotic. It's not all bad advice. Some of it's stupid. That's what it is. Some of it is performative. Some of it's hyperbolic. Some of it is juvenile humor that gets taken out of context. Some of it's just juvenile humor that people pretend is serious. But I tweeted, and it's caused some disagreement on the Twitterverse. Did I bring up the tweet? Hold on, let me see here. Anybody who's been following me on Twitter would be familiar with this. So they deplatformed Tate, and the pretext is misogyny and danger. But Eminem gets a halftime show, and just as one example of Eminem's, if we're talking about misogyny that can lead little kids astray and cause them to do bad and dumb things, I'm not who can spout off the most misogynist objectification, inducement of committing acts of violence against women. This is not the only example from 20 years ago. Through the roof. But not only do some people not get deplatformed for things such as what you can read in the lyrics here, they get the halftime show of the Super Bowl, the biggest show in the history of America. They get the halftime show. Andrew Tate, who talks about women being his products and women not being able to drive and women having, different functions and in society, and, women not being allowed to have conversations because that's infidelity, but a man can go sleep around and that's not infidelity. No, that's danger-inducing misogyny. Deplatform. But this stuff, no, just give them the biggest bullhorn on earth. And some people, the responses are actually amazing. Let me just take some of the dissenting responses. What doesn't make sense to me is how you can compare Andrew Tate with a rap song. Do we not? What is Andrew Tate being deplatformed for? He's being deplatformed for misogynist speech, arguably asking for conduct that can be misconstrued as inciting violence. Maybe it causes children to think violence against women is cool. That's what he's being deplatformed for. Some people are going to say, he's got a Ponzi scheme. He's being punished for that. He's being deplatformed because they called him dangerous, misogynist, and making speech that should not be tolerated on platforms. So how can I compare it to a rap song? Very easily. Because if the argument is that people might listen to Andrew Tate and then think it's okay to own women and mistreat women, well, then when you're reaching, and if we're talking about stochastic terrorism, like when you reach enough people, some people are going to hear your words differently. Well, then it applies perfectly, mutatis mutandis, to a rap singer glorifying, objectifying, imagining violence against women. So it's not just perfectly applicable, it's mutatis mutandis if the accusation is that one person by their speech, which arguably is performative as well, one person by their speech is going to influence people, children, influential children, to do acts of violence unto women. I don't even see how you can distinguish from this rap lyric in particular, but a lot of hip hop lyrics in general. Let's see here, some more. Eminem is not selling $50 course on how to be misogynistic and have no regard for mental health. Oh, I'm sorry. Eminem's just selling $20 CDs, and all of these rap singers are only just selling albums on how to be misogynist and making fun of mental health. It's quite amazing how people will delude themselves into justifying what they want under one set of circumstances while distinguishing it in another set of circumstances where they don't want it. Because the reality is, everyone listens to hip hop. Everyone likes it. And if we're going to apply this swath of deplatforming people based on speech, well, then you're going to have to apply it equally and fairly to the people that you like, and that you like despite the fact that it might be your dirty little sin. You know, I like hip hop. I like Eminem. I don't take his lyrics seriously. I listen to Tate. I don't take his lyrics seriously, but the argument's going to be some 13-year-old boy is going to think it's cool what Andrew Tate says. They're going to look up to him. They're going to admire him. He's got a good body. He's got nice, cool tattoos. He's a millionaire. They're going to look up to him. I'm sorry. How is that different from all of these, Eminem in particular, hip hop stars singing about violence, singing about how is it different? They're all selling something. You just don't see it because you've already bought one product and you're not interested in the other one. And by the way, someone says, oh, you're trying to get Eminem canceled? No. What I'm saying is that if this is the new standard, you either apply it equally or you don't apply it. I'm not saying that Eminem should get canceled whatsoever. I'm saying that Andrew Tate shouldn't get canceled, despite the fact that I think a lot of what he says is absolutely idiotic, or at the very least, idiotically formulated, idiotically expressed. And then people say, oh, he might influence kids. There's going to be a lot of bad influences on our kids out there. The solution in a free and democratic society is not to ban or deplatform those bad influences. It's to be an involved parent and know what your kids are listening to and then have the discussion with them about it. Is it okay to take a machete even as a joke and make jokes? No. Is it okay to regard women as property? No. But Andrew Tate said, well, here, let me explain to you why that sentence, if it was in fact taken within context, is idiotic. And so I tweet out that this is Andrew Tate. Oh, sorry. Let me steal man another argument. Someone said, well, Eminem never did it. First of all, neither did Tate. In fact, between Eminem and Andrew Tate, between any number of hip hop stars that I can name offhand who have grotesquely violent, misogynist lyrics, and Andrew Tate, a lot of them have been convicted of actual crimes, not necessarily against women, but actual crimes, actual felonious crimes. Oh, so they sing about violence. They're actual criminals. But you say Andrew Tate is the one who's the bad influence and people might take him seriously. But then some people say Andrew Tate does do it. There's a video of him talking about choking a woman. There's a video of him doing some bizarre S&M stuff that I, as an individual, am not into. Some people are out there thinking that they've seen a video of Andrew Tate actually physically assaulting a woman. Some people out there have seen that video and think that that's what they actually saw. No context, no nothing. They just saw the video. Andrew Tate doing things that I'm absolutely not into, calling women names that I absolutely don't call them, and engaging in behavior that I absolutely don't engage in. And they're going to think, I saw the video of Andrew Tate abusing a woman. I saw it. Not going to know, by the way, you may not be into these things, but a lot of people are into kinky S&M stuff. Not me, but a lot of people are. And, you know, that's their thing. Consenting adults can do what they want, even if I find it somewhat bizarre. People are going to see that video and think that they saw something and then not understand that the woman in that video subsequently came out and confirmed that that was role playing. She was into it. He was into it. And now people are going to say, I saw Tate commit an act of violence that he in fact did not commit. And I'm going to ignore the acts of violence that these other people actually did commit because it wasn't against women. It was just other acts of violence, like, you know, carrying a concealed weapon or killing people. I'm not confessing. People. It's what movie was it where it says, that's my wife. She kisses my kids with. What movie was that from? Was that that wasn't The Sopranos? It was a mobster movie. I remember. So that's it. So Andrew Tate, he's not been indicted. He's not been accused of a crime. He's not been convicted of a crime. He hasn't pleaded guilty to a crime. A lot of what people think they saw that shows something doesn't actually show what they think they saw because people are not interested in actually delving into the truth. They like to just have what they already believe reaffirmed. I saw these videos. I say, because I'm cynical, there's probably more to it. If there's a video of Andrew Tate abusing someone, assaulting someone on the internet, chances are he got arrested. Chances are he got convicted or pleaded guilty. So if I see that video, and that's what people are telling me that video is, and I don't see any convictions, it's probably more to the story. When there's video evidence of people committing alleged crimes, typically it leads to charges unless they're a Biden. So that's it. Andrew Tate running a pyramid scheme. Let's steel man that. Is he being deplatformed now for business practices? Is now deplatforming people the de facto court system? No trial, no defense, just automatic guilt because he's running a pyramid scheme? Okay. Oh, sorry. Well, I disagree with that as a modus operandi. I disagree with that as a question of fundamental justice. And by the way, it's factually incorrect. If he's being deplatformed for having run a Ponzi scheme, a pyramid scheme, that's news to me. But if he's alleged to be running a pyramid scheme, that's why we have courts, people. There are terms of service. If he's violating the terms of service, okay, fine. Duke that out. That's not the rationale, nor could it possibly be the rationale for an instantaneous, across all social media platform banning. If he's running a pyramid scheme, press charges, let him defend himself. Social media is not the substitute for the government, unless you're Facebook and Twitter at the request of the FBI. We'll get there. Okay, we will move on to the next subject.